Hello and welcome to Gaming News with Jake. Here you'll find all the gaming news by me. Probably. So, E3 2018 just happened and all the press conferences are over. Now, as you can imagine, there is a lot to cover. So, in this gaming news, I thought that I would cover all the small press conferences in this one. So, we're talking like EA, Ubisoft and Bethesda. So I'm going to mash them all into one, and that's what you're going to see right now. So, let's get right onto it. So I'm going to start with EA's press conference, because in all honesty, it's EA's and their press conference was kind of rubbish. So I thought I'll get that out of the way with. So, starting with Unravel 2. Yes, they announced Unravel 2. And not only that, the biggest surprise with this is that it is out right now. Yes, you can play it right now. Me and Sophie have been playing it in co-op, and we've been having a real good time with it. I really enjoyed Unravel. That was like one of my top games of 2015. So it's good to see a sequel for this. And what Unravel 2 is, it is a local co-op game. You play as two Yarnies, and you can customise your Yarnies as well. You can change its colour, change the sort of eyeballs and head and body. And yeah, you play Unravel, and I've got to say it's a good way to play in co-op. You have to solve stuff together. You can play it single player, and how that works is if you go up to the other Yarnie, you press Y and he sort of becomes attached to become like a one whole Yarnie. But then doing the puzzles itself, you have to kind of like unmorph them and control them both to do the puzzles. I don't exactly know how it plays in single player, because I don't aim to play it in single player. I aim to play it with myself and Sophie. But I can say that, you know, in co-op it's a real good time, and if you enjoyed Unravel, I am sure you'll enjoy that. So, that's Unravel 2. They announced Sea of Solitude is a new indie game coming out, and it is about a girl who is turning into a monster due to her emotions. So it's about her travelling to this like sunken city. She's in a boat, and the whole world is like covered in water by the looks of it. And she's sort of trying to sort her emotions out to become human again. It looks very interesting. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it, but that's as much as I can say, because that is pretty much all the info we got from it, but it's definitely one to keep an eye out on. So that is Sea of Solitude. And then to end off EA's press conference, they showed some Anthem, and this was meant to be the biggest highlight of their press conference, and it was rubbish. I don't understand what they were doing. So, what happened is that they had gameplay, but it was like 10-second clips of like different gameplay parts, all like meshed into one, what just kept like looping over and over and over again. And how they talked about their game while this montage of 10-second clips of gameplay kept looping over and over again is that they got the developers out to do like a Q&A session, and I don't get why. I don't like, so they had the developers saying like, oh yeah, this will be in our game, this will be in our game, this will happen, this will happen. So why aren't you showing it? I don't understand. This was meant to be the biggest highlight. This was like the hype of your press conference, what you were like hyping up, like, oh, come join us, see some more Anthem. We didn't see any of that. It's all well and good talking about it, but not showing it. It was very confusing. I don't understand. It was awful. It was only until like after the press conference when like interviewers and journalists started like talking to the devs, then info started coming out about the game, but that's not the way to do it. If you have this information, show us. Like, it's not a good sign, really. You know, they announced a release date of February 22nd, 2019. What they did show, you know, it looks really pretty. as in graphical. It looks fun, you know, gameplay looks fun, flying around their open world looks fun. It's a 4-player, like, online co-op, a bit like Destiny, which is kind of a bit like, ooh, I don't know, like, it does sort of look a bit, you know, Destiny inspired, but that's it. I thought it was an awful way to hype up your game, you know, what was meant to be the big moment of your press conference. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's Anthem. So now we're moving on to Bethesda's conference, and I gotta say, their conference was alright. It was nothing amazing, but, you know, they got their job done. So, starting off their press conference, it was pretty cringy. So, they had Andrew WK come on and sing a song with his band about Rage 2, and in case you don't know who Andrew WK is, he is the guy who sung Party Hard. I'm sure if you look up Party Hard on YouTube, you'll instantly go, oh, that guy. So yeah, that went on for so long, god damn it, just get onto it, you know, get onto Rage 2. So, they showed Rage 2, and I don't know, it looks alright, but it hasn't really gripped me, like, it really doesn't look like my cup of tea. So, with Rage 2, they've sort of gone in a fun sort of direction, like it isn't taking itself seriously at all, right? When before, the original Rage was trying to take itself really seriously, so it's kind of a bit weird how they've gone in that direction. Like, the whole theme of it just looks really, I don't know, it's just not gripping me. But they said that's coming out in spring 2019, and yeah, if you're interested, you can watch the gameplay of Rage 2 and see what you think. I don't know, it might be your cup of tea, but personally for me, it hasn't really gripped me. So yeah, that's Rage 2. A big announcement they made was a teaser trailer for Doom Eternal. So, this is going to be a sequel to Doom 2016, and man, I'm actually really pumped and happy about this, because Doom 2016, it's a great game, and getting a sequel is great. So, with this teaser trailer, they come out and briefly discussed what it's going to be about. So, Doom Eternal, it is going to be a sequel to Doom 2016. It is also going to be Hell on Earth. That is as much as we know on Doom Eternal, but I'm pumped for it. I hope it turns out good. That is as much as I can say on Doom Eternal. Wolfenstein Youngblood got announced, and what this is going to be about is BJ's twin daughters, and it's going to be a co-op game, and it's going to release in 2019. That's as much as we really know about it. Again, it was sort of like a teaser trailer for it. I assume, and I imagine that this is sort of like a story expansion, like a standalone thing, like what they did with Old Blood. I guess we'll find out when it comes out in 2019. Fallout 76 got a bunch of information, so much that I'm going to refer to my notepad because there was a lot to take in. So, Fallout 76 is based on the first ever vault to open, and you're one of the first group of vault testers who are taking part of this, right? 25 years have passed and the vault opens. Now, the game is based in West Virginia, and it is going to be an online Fallout game. So, we're not talking like an MMO like Elder Scrolls Online. We're talking like it's going to feel like a Fallout game, but you can play co-op, or you can play 4-player with others. Not only that, there's going to be, other players in the world who may attack you, like real players. So you could be like questing, next thing you know you could have some bullets flying at you and you've noticed that it's an actual player trying to kill you. So, a big point they made is that you can play solo, because they believe like single player games, you know, they've been building around that for many years now, and they believe that, you know, single player games should be a thing. So they said that if you don't want to play online, you can turn online off and you can play solo, so it's like a Fallout game, right? So you can also build wherever you want in the world. So it's not like in Fallout 4 where it's like set locations and once you've walked into that sort of area you can build in there. No, you can build anywhere in the world now. So yourself and your mates, you can make your own little base where you know, you can pinpoint it on the map, you can name it and establish this big base where you could, you know, go back and forth to get supplies and just regroup there, sort of thing. So that was interesting. I'm not sure how that's going to work about, you know, how many players are going to be in the world and if it's just going to be overrun by buildings, that sort of thing. It was very unclear on that, but they did say, yo, you can build anywhere, so go for it. A big interesting thing about this is that you can find nuclear codes, right? So little segments of nuclear codes. So when you're killing enemies, sometimes on their body they might have like a 2-digit code for a nuclear bomb, right? You pick up these codes, and what they're aiming for is that you go to other players and see if they have other parts of the code. And then in the world there's like nuclear, like power plants, that sort of thing. And you can go in there and there'll be a nuclear bomb, and if you get the whole code like of other players, you can put in the code and then you can pinpoint where you want this nuke to launch. So for example, let's say you wanted to, I don't know, get some revenge on a group of griefers, for example. Like there's been some griefers who have been bugging you when you're trying to solo or bugging your duo, and they've been really getting on your ass, right? So you could pinpoint that nuclear bomb on their base and completely wipe it, right? But this could cause some issues because they're sort of hoping that you like team up and get other codes from other players, but this could cause so much grief. I don't know how this is gonna go. Like I'm hyped for this. Like it sounds great. Like being able to play a Fallout game with Bobby and Sophie, just exploring this Fallout world together. It sounds great, but I'm so worried that there could be so many problems alongside with it. For example, like griefers, that is my biggest concern. The fact that, you know, you can just bump into people who are like real players, and I'm scared that there's going to be a lot of griefing, a lot of trolling, what can dampen your experience. That is my biggest concern with Fallout 76. There is a beta, what is going to go out sometime this year, I think. And yeah, they announced a release date for it, and it was the 14th of November this year. So, going back to last week when that leaked information about Fallout 76, obviously some snippets of it were sort of right, but most of it was completely wrong. So that just sort of goes to show you not to believe leaks and rumours all the time. But that's Fallout 76. I'm sorry if I, you know, didn't do a really good job explaining it. They did show a lot on it, and it really, I tried my best to try and get like the main key points of the game down. So if you're like, well, Jay, you did a shit job, which I probably did, just feel free, go watch their, their trailers and their gameplay. They'll do such a better job than me. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting approach they've done with this game. So we will see how that turns out. They announced a new IP called Starfield. So what this teaser trailer was is that it showed space and like a space shuttle or like a satellite, and then the title come up as Starfield. So as you can imagine, I can't say much on it, but what they did say is that they hope that this game will become its own sort of franchise, a bit like what Elder Scrolls and Fallout has done. So, going off that, I imagine that, it's probably going to play sort of similar to how Elder Scrolls plays and how Fallout plays. Maybe, I don't know, I could be completely wrong. But that was it. That's Starfield. And then to close their conference, they showed a teaser trailer for Elder Scrolls 6. Again, I cannot say anything on this because the teaser trailer was literally like a panning shot of like a few mountains and then Elder Scrolls 6 come up. Right? That was it. But hopefully with this announcement, we know it's coming now. The people who were bugging Bethesda about, where's Elder Scrolls 6? I want Elder Scrolls 6. With this announcement, now they know it's coming. Hopefully they'll leave them be and let them do their thing. But, I'm happy to hear that Elder Scrolls 6 is an official thing now. And now moving on to Ubisoft's press conference. So, Ubisoft's press conference. I say, they tried to make it fun, but the conference itself was very meh. So, at the start, they announced Just Dance 2019, which is coming out in October. But alongside with that, they had a dancing panda with like this marching band, and he was dancing for longer than what I would have hoped for. So, please in future, don't do dancing pandas again. A new Trials game got announced, Trials Rising. It looks like a Trials game. I don't really see much difference. I guess the difference is that they've sort of really amped up sort of like violence in it. Because as before in the old Trials game, it was like always there, but it was always like at the end of a race you would just like crash into a wall or fall into a fire pit, that sort of thing. But in this one it looks like they've really like sort of amped up that violence. So there's like wrecking balls coming in at you like full pelt now and making you fly. There's like electricity, them flying off cliffs, like getting exploded by exploding barrels. Like they've really amped up the sort of dramatic violence in this, like at the end of races. But yeah, it looks like a Trials game, and that is coming out on February 2019. The Division 2 got a big part of the press conference, and what they showed was that the game is going to be about you trying to like save the world and make history, like from a corrupted government. Like, I think it's something along those lines, but the game itself, it looks very Division-y, if that's even a word. But I think you understand what I mean. It looks like The Division, right? The Division 1, I thought that game had so much potential, but then just let itself down. So I'm hoping with like The Division 2, it can, I don't know, do something with it. But from the gameplay, it just looked the same. A good thing they did say about The Division 2 is that all DLC and expansions will be free. So it's not splitting up the community entirely, right? That was one positive about The Division 2. But yeah, that's coming out March 2019. I guess we'll have to see what it's like when it comes out, but from what they showed, it just looks like The Division, right? And, to some people that may not be a bad thing. I know there's like a real hardcore fan base for the first Division, right? but you know, they need to improve a lot on that game. So I'm hoping when it comes out we will see those improvements. The new IP Skull and Bones got some gameplay, and I'm very conflicted on this. There's a part of me what really wants to like Skull and Bones, but then there's another part of me what's really hating Skull and Bones. So the part what's, you know, I'm really hating is that what they showed, it looked very fast, right? It looked like the ships were on like engines, like it looked like they were power steering, and the ships were turning instantly, and the cannons were all just shooting, and there's fucking people flying everywhere. Like, it was insane, right? It from the looks of it, is definitely not your like realistic pirate game. Which, you know, then there's the other part of me which I'm like, maybe it plays alright. Maybe if I actually got hands-on with that and played it for myself, maybe it's fun and enjoyable. Maybe it just doesn't show well, possibly. But yeah, the sort of pace for it, it was very sort of confusing and a bit hard to keep track of what was happening. But, you know, I'm hoping that game turns out alright. I'm just scared that, you know, there won't be enough there to keep you interested and to keep you coming back, sort of thing. But, you know, that's Skull and Bones. My dad's doing some building work. Starlin Battle for Atlas got some gameplay, and this was their version of Toy to Life stuff. So what you do, you get a spaceship and you attach it to your controller, and you can take off certain parts of the spaceship and reattach other parts to it, and it comes to life in game. Now, this game, it looks pretty bad. Like, I probably get that it's not meant for me, like target audience wise, it's probably meant for like younger people, but still. A big announcement they made for this game is that on the Nintendo Switch version, you can play as Star Fox. Yes, you heard me right. Star Fox will be in the Nintendo Switch version. I don't know how I feel about that, but hey, whatever. I know Ubisoft and Nintendo have a really good relationship, so whatever. In case you're interested, Starlin Battle for Atlas will be available on October 16th this year. Assassin's Creed Odyssey got a huge chunk of their presentation. So, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is going to be based in ancient Greece, which, you know, I'm all down for. I think that could be very interesting if they do it right. What they showed is that the game is going to be like land and sea, so, you know, you can travel in boats and also, you know, on foot. You can choose your starting character from either a male or female, and you'll play as these characters through the whole game. So if you play as a male, you play as a male character through the whole game. If you play as a female, you play as the female character through the whole game. So that's pretty cool. You can also do text dialogue now. So when you speak to someone, it's not just like a sequence of text what happens. You can, you know, there'll be moments where you have to pick a certain dialogue line to, you know, say to them. And they also mentioned that this will sometimes have impacts on the worlds and, you know, the people around you, that sort of thing. Like, so for example, if, I don't know, you were doing a quest or something, and the quest is that you had to go out and kill this certain person, but you set him free instead, and you go back and you say, yeah, I killed him, but you totally lie. That could, like, bite you in the arse, like, later on in the game. I think that's how they put it, and how they explained how it'll sort of go. Also, loot is back from Assassin's Creed Origin. You know, you get loot from dead enemies. Also, there's like magical weapons and powers now, so they've really sort of, you know, from Assassin's Creed Origins, there was like some, you know, fantasy magical stuff in that, and it was fun, right? So why take that fun away? Let's have it. So I'm glad that they're sort of, you know, not taking themselves as serious anymore, because Assassin's Creed was all about, yeah, this is history, yeah, we're following history like it was and stuff. So it's good that they're playing around with it, but not completely messing it up, sort of thing. So that's good. There's also like a skill tree. Obviously, you can upgrade different skills for like, you know, your attacks and your sort of climbing abilities, that sort of thing. And like I said, it is definitely embracing its fantasy side, because this being in ancient Greece, there's obviously like a lot of like Greek stories, like, you know, Minotaurs, that sort of thing. And they showed like a 5-second teaser right at the end of a Minotaur. So, you know, this is great. I'm really glad that they're really embracing this sort of side to like Assassin's Creed. Because, you know, it's fun, right? It's good that they're having fun with something what used to be so serious. And honestly, I'm actually quite looking forward to this. You know, I love the theme, what they've gone for, ancient Greece. And like I keep saying, I like that, you know, they've just gone, fuck it, let's go fantasy sort of thing. But not too crazy with it. And I hope it turns out good. It's definitely probably one of the first Assassin's Creed games I've been interested in a very long time. I used to be a huge Assassin's Creed fan and fell off by Black Flag. Got to Black Flag and then the others came out and I was just done with it. So it's good to sort of see this, you know, piquing my interest again, which is a good thing. So I hope when that comes out, it will turn out good. And that does it for this episode with Gaming News with Jake. Obviously, I talked about a lot. And there's still a lot I need to talk about with the other press conferences. But I just want to say sorry if some of that information came out a bit weird or a bit unclear, or some parts I'm a bit like blur, because the parts you don't see, there's a lot of mistakes what happen, right? And there's a lot of starting and stopping and trying to get into the rhythm again. So I'm sorry that, like, further down it sort of becomes a bit obvious. But yeah, that'll do it. I will be back with this, talking about the other press conferences, so look forward to that. And with that, see you later.